After logging in as an internal warehouse employee, you can create a load from the personal dashboard that is available for the user. After clicking on Create Load in the top right corner, you need to perform all the actions in the wizard to finish the process. In the first step, we need to provide a material ID. After clicking Next Step, we can allocate child lots based on the material number we just provided. First, we need to provide a planned start date and a planned completion date, and click Select to allocate the necessary child lots before we can go to the next step. You can see the number of lots allocated and the maximum capacity of the load. In the second step, we need to select the vendor. After selecting the desired vendor, we can check the load details and the packaging instructions. Once everything is checked, we can continue to the final step. After a final check, we click Submit to finish the process and to start shipping the load to the selected vendor. After logging in as the external warehouse employee of the selected vendor, we can now see the newly created load. After clicking on the new load, we can see all load details, including the process flow. After checking all the information, we can click Process Load to start the process. The first step is to fill in the mandatory checklist. We inspect the load for damages, and we now select the contents condition. In this example, we will select contents are damaged, and we need to provide photos. After answering all the questions, we can route it back to the internal warehouse employee to handle the damaged goods. The internal warehouse employee can now see the damaged load on their personal dashboard and can perform actions by clicking on the load. We click Review Damage to start the process. The user can see the added photos of the damage and can now scrap or deallocate the lots by clicking Deallocate or Scrap in the lots overview. To scrap a lot, we need to enter a reason to continue. If everything is checked, we can complete the process by clicking Complete. In this next example, we will continue as an external warehouse employee and we will select No Issues for the contents condition. After filling in all the required information, we can click Route to start the production process. We can now see that the load has been submitted for processing. This means that the load now needs to go to the operator. After logging in as the external warehouse operator, we can see the newly assigned load as the status in progress. We can also see a new message within the inbox overview. After clicking on the newly added load, we can see the same details as we have seen before, and if everything is verified, we can click Process Load to start the production process. In the first step, we need to review and validate the materials. Let's click on Validate Materials. This can be done manually by selecting Validate, or by scanning the QR code of a material when you're using a mobile device. In this example, we'll manually click Validate, and we can close the pop-up. Once everything's reviewed and validated, we can click Next Step to go to the quality check. In this step, we can check the quality of our production process. The quality data is based on the Quality Batch Data Interface QDAS. We can also check the machine process data, which is based on the standard protocol OPC UA. When everything is finished and checked by the operator, we can complete the mandatory checklist to continue. Once entered, we click Next Step to go to the final step in the process. Here we review all data and check the load process timeline. If everything is validated, we can click Route to route it back to the external warehouse employee and to finish the production process. When the production process is finished, the load is routed back to the external warehouse employee. We can see a new inbox notification on the right side of the dashboard. Click this to see the load details. Now we can finish the process so the load can be shipped back to the internal warehouse employee. We click on Process Load to continue the wizard. First, we check the production notes within the load process timeline before we click Next Step. By clicking the Shipping Label button, we can view the shipping label. Next, we complete the checklist with the acceptance date, the planning shipping date, and the acceptance description. Let's generate the certificate of compliance by clicking yes, and after generation, we can click View Certificate. After viewing, we click Next Step to review everything before we click Route, which will send it back to the internal warehouse employee. As soon as the load is routed back from the vendor, we can see a notification on the internal warehouse employee's dashboard. After clicking on the notification, we click Process Load to continue. Here we review the timeline where we can read the comments from the vendor. We can also check the Quality Data tab to see the quality of the production process. After reviewing, we click Next Step to go to the final step. To complete the process, we enter all mandatory fields of the checklist. Are the contents damaged? In this example, we indeed have noticed some damage to our load. We select Contents are damaged for the contents condition. We will then need to scrap the damaged lot from the load. We will scrap one lot and fill in the scrap reason. Next, we upload a photo of the damage by clicking Add Image. We have verified the manifest on the left side of the screen. For the last step, we type in the receiving notes before we click Complete. We can now see that the status of the load has changed to partially scrapped. In the current version of the application, we show a gauge during the production process for the external warehouse operator. For this moment of change, we would like to extend the dashboard with a new navigation item and a new overview page, which can hold multiple gauges to give insights into all kinds of data. I will now demonstrate how easy this is with Mendix. First, we will add a new navigation item. Double-click on the first row within the App Explorer. Now double-click on the navigation item. Click on New Item and set the caption to Metrics. Now click Select and select the signal icon. As on-click action, we select Call a Microflow. We now select the Outsourced Production module and click New. Enter ACT_Show Metrics Dashboard as the name and click OK. Now click on Show and close the pop-up by clicking OK. Next, we will allow the operator to use this microflow by selecting Allowed Roles in the Properties pane on the right side of the screen and click on the button with the 3 dots. We now select External Operator and click OK to close the pop-up. Now we need a new activity, which can be selected by clicking on the first blue icon at the top of the screen, and we drag it into the microflow. Now double-click the activity, and then double-click on Show Page. Click Select, click New, and select Blank at the bottom of the list. Change the page name to Dashboard_Metrics, and then select the blank page template before you click OK. Click Show to go to the newly created page, and then click OK to close the pop-up. To add the already existing gauge, we can drag and drop snippet_load metrics from the App Explorer pane into the page. We can now run the application to save our changes. If everything is good to go, we click View App to see the changes within the browser.